Start polishing the torso of our character. As usual, I will start with the torso root controller. This is something we have been doing on all the previous lessons, whether it was the robot or the squirrel character or the run cycle on this character. What I want to point out here is that the motion of the torso root is one of the most important parts of your character. Define the center of gravity motion of your character, hence it will define the weight and rhythm of your walk cycle, which is the most important notion in body mechanic. Start with the up and down motion or Z location curve, which is the most important on a walk cycle. Right now, the curve looks very sinusoidal and very smooth, but it seems that the extremes are pretty well positioned in time. Goal will be to bring contrast to the motion by holding a bit the down pose and the up pose. While we will have a slight plateau on the highest and lowest values of the curve. On the extreme up, I'm trying to have the leg almost fully extended. Here I'm comparing the previous pose with the new one. During the pushing or up pose, I'm trying to get an almost straight leg. This gives a better shape to the leg and a better line of action to it. We will talk about line of action in detail in the next chapter. To make it simple here, it makes the silhouette of our character more readable, as the straight leg supports the idea of verticality, of pushing up. I've polished the first half of the motion. I will first duplicate the extreme down on frame 4 and move it by 16 frames, half the length of the cycle, get rid of all the keyframe after frame 20, and I will duplicate the polished portion of the curve from frame 4 to frame 20 and move it by 16 frames. There I can select the key on frame 32. If you don't have one, you can insert a keyframe there and move it on frame 0. Get rid of any keys that goes beyond our 32 frame range. If needed, don't forget to rotate a bit the keys on frame 0 and 32 to align the curve from one cycle to the other. If you are polishing a specific feature or area of your character, don't hesitate to hide the other part. So I will add to the visibility properties panel, and I will hide the arms and hide the arms and hands controllers. As I do so, I remove visual noise, and I feel like the up and down motion, while it's properly timed, is a bit too strong. Make sure I'm using the bounding box as a pivot point, so that I can scale the whole curve on an average. I will simply scale the whole curve on the y-axis by pressing S and then Y. You can also move the whole curve along the y-axis in the graph editor to whether raise or lower the center of gravity of your character. I want my character to almost have a straight leg whenever he's pushing, so that he feels lightweight. With the up and down motion now polished, I will jump to the side-to-side motion working on the X location. We'll add the Z location and display the X location curve. It currently looks a bit messy. We are going to fix it pretty quickly. The first thing we need to do is identify the extremes. Weight mainly shift between the contact pose and the passing pose. Then the body ease to the side during the pushing pose before the body starts falling on the other side and accelerates, shifting the weight onto the other leg. To the polished curve, frame 0 we have the contact pose and we almost reach the extreme on frame 6. And the curve is until frame 11 where we start pushing. Frame 11 to frame 15 we slowly shift the weight onto the other side until the contact pose where we will have a fast change in direction. So you really want to shift the weight from side to side during the fall, whenever the leg is about to contact the ground and contact the ground. And as the character recovers with this contacting leg and start pushing on it, it will first absorb the momentum and then start pushing on the other side. As usual, you can refer to the current curve I'm displaying, but if you want to properly learn, mostly focus on what we've just explained fast motion during the fall, and then easing for the transition. If I was getting close to a convincing result, I want to be able to properly symmetrize the motion. Note that this is not mandatory. If you have a difference between the left to right motion, it can be interesting, as a real-life walk cycle is never perfect, but I just want to show you how to mirror the curve over time. I will get rid of any curves that goes beyond half of the cycle, after frame 16. We'll select all the other keys, duplicate them and move them by 16 frames on the x-axis. Now my side-to-side motion repeat over 16 frames, but always go onto the same side. We need to symmetrize the value of our curve along the y-axis and around the value 0. We can easily do this by using the 2D cursor. It is defined by the playhead position for the x value and this horizontal blue line for the y value. Since we want to symmetrize our curve around the value 0, we need to reposition our 2D cursor horizontal value to 0. Precisely set this value by heading to the View tab, where we can see the playhead position named cursor x value and the y value. So I will replace the current y value by 0. Now I just have to make sure that I'm using the 2D cursor as a pivot point, scale on y-axis by -1, the keys from frame 16 to frame 32. This way we make sure that our cycle is currently cycling, and then I will clean a bit the curve, removing the keys that are too close one to the other and doesn't bring any information. From there, we can work on the Y location axis of our torso. Polishing the Y curve is going to be pretty simple because it has a very subtle influence onto our walk cycle. If you don't want to play with this curve, that's fine, but you should always input a bit of motion. And by that is that since we are animating our walk cycle on the spot, the torso root, forward and backward wise, should be on the spot too. There is always a bit of variation over time. While your whole body is moving in a linear fashion, there are variations for every single point in the body of your character. The thing to know is that as the character is falling forward just before the contact pose, the body is accelerating forward, and as soon as the foot is hitting the ground, the body will slow down and move backward. Double check the values of my curve, you can see that the range of motion is very subtle. It just brings some extra texture to the motion. Our torso root is now polished, and in the next video we are going to polish the other features of the torso.